Hello everyone, my name is Shirley McNicholas and I work for Camden and Islington Foundation Trust, which has now become a partnership, so it's the North London Mental Health Partnership. I've worked in mental health for about 40 years and 30 of those have been running a trauma-informed women's crisis house as an alternative to hospital admission. And that house was built in collaboration with many women who had survived the mental health system but also survived trauma in their lives. So really that's the foundation of my understanding of what a trauma-informed approach is. From that work led me to be the women's lead and domestic and sexual violence lead in our organisation, and ultimately I'm pleased to be one of the trauma-informed strategic leads in partnership with people with lived experience who have got jobs in our team, and Philippa Greenfield, who is the medical trauma-informed strategic lead, alongside two people with lived experience, Julie and Jason, and Andy, who is a lived experience activist who very much has been at the heart of this and talks about that kind of your heart and mind needs to be in a trauma-informed approach. It's not just asking the question, what's happened to you? So that's kind of where we come from, and what we hope to bring to the Culture of Care programme is that trauma-informed lens that we're taking at an organisational level in our organisation, but hope to bring to the Culture of Care programme, because ward teams cannot change the culture on their own. It has to be an organisational lens. And Judith Herman, for people who don't know her, really talks about that kind of aspect of being a bystander. If society and the organisation looks the other way, how can you expect staff at the front line to change their behaviour and to hear the trauma that people have experienced? So a trauma-informed approach has some key aspects to it. There's lots of research for you to go and read, lots of the survivor movement have talked about this, but the key things is really believing and acknowledging the traumatic experiences and childhood adversity that people have experienced prior to coming to services. And without protective factors, being able to process that, be healed and protected, often people then come into mental health services, that those experiences are then kind of turned into mental health distress and bring people into some very mechanistic systems really, often ending up on acute wards or even secure wards. Traumatic experiences you may understand as childhood abuse, as neglect and abandonment, but we really recognise now in the evidence of experiences of racism, of misogyny, violence against women and girls, all of those things, the societal and political landscape that we live in really contributes to people's layering of trauma and childhood adversity that brings them into services. And so we have to shift our understanding of what causes and contributes to mental health problems, and in that shift, what kind of environments and therapeutic offer do we have? So lots of our environments have become, in my 40 years, much harsher, more like prisons. Everything's kind of locked down, there's no carpet, there's no softness. We really understand more and more around kind of the impact on the brain of trauma and how an environment, a soothing environment, can really be part of contributing to the healing process. Also the therapeutic offer, things like routine inquiry, how important it is that staff ask people what's happened to them, do they feel safe in their relationships, because evidence is overwhelming that people who come to mental health services are often still in relationships that harm them. So we're much more interested in, are you going to harm us, rather than how vulnerable are you to harm. Examples of organisational change that we want to bring into this is around preventing sexual violence and harm within our services, but also asking people what's happened to them that have brought them into services, because often sexual harm is a big factor in a kind of mental health crisis and developing a mental health problem. A trauma-informed approach isn't the whole answer, but it really is part of that cultural shift that we hope to bring into the Culture of Care programme. The whole organisation needs to take on this cultural shift, not just the ward staff. So we're delighted to be part of that and hope that we make a positive impact. Thank you.